Thank you. Welcome to today's lesson on destination management. The unit code is BHT4206. And before we get to the details of the unit, it is important for us to note that tourism has numerous socio-economic benefits, and as a result, we need to manage them, or rather we need to manage the tourism destinations in a way that will leave a positive legacy for the current and future generation. And as we talk about destination management, then we want to ask ourselves, what are the intricate principles that a destination should follow to make sure that it is sustainably maintained over a long time? So in this unit of destination management, we are asking ourselves several fundamental questions. How can tourism development be used optimally today and have the same positive effect being replicated to the future generation? So in this aspect, destination management process will integrate two fundamental things that I will be discussing in the course of the lesson. And the first one is demand. And when we talk about the way we manage demand, we are talking about the visitor or consumer needs. And on the other hand, we'll also be looking at the supply side, which encompasses the suppliers, or what we call the kind of experiences that tourists obtain. So for us to be effective in managing destination, then there is need for us to refocus on effective planning, development, and even marketing activities which are based on sound research. Straight away, what is destination management? The definition of this concept is that it is an ongoing process that engages delivery partners in a strong collaborative network to deliver on a clear vision for the future. In other words, we are saying we have quite a number of partners or stakeholders within the wider tourism industry, and the way we synchronize them or the way we network with them really matters. And when we manage the tourism-related activities in a very candid way, then it means that this industry will remain relevant, and all the desired effects will be realized. So the destination management integrates 4 key delivery areas. These are the areas that we'll focus on. The first one is research and analysis. And we are saying the research and analysis should inform destinations on the strategies and the goals that they ought to take in order to ensure that our destination is well managed. Then we'll also have, or it also encompasses consultative planning. And in this regard, we are noting that for a destination to be termed that it is well managed, then the stakeholders should be consulted in the planning process, and you look at that. Then number 3, experience and product development. When we are developing products, we ought to make sure that the consumer, who are tourists, are satisfied, and that brings even repeat business. And also, number 4, marketing and promotion. The way we market tourism as an entity is very fundamental. Now, what are the guiding principles of best practices in regard to destination management? So one of the best practices that a destination can embrace is, number 1, defining the destination as part of the destination management process by drawing national boundaries and point of access. In other words, for a destination to be termed as a well-managed destination, then we need to understand the intricate details, the uniqueness of that destination, and uphold that. Then number 2, we still need to understand the market. You cannot just sell your product to anyone or to everyone, rather. But you can understand the market needs and tailor-make product that suit that market. And that is very important. So when you understand the market needs, then you tailor-make product that suit that market need. Then number 3, it should also adapt or create a strong community-based vision for the future of the destination. A destination cannot be termed as a well-managed destination, or it is not practicing best practices if it ignores the community, the host community. So a good destination should adopt a strong community-based vision. Then develop a destination management structure with a clear communication process that link all the relevant stakeholders. There must be a consolidated way of communicating to the stakeholders. So it is expedient for us to develop the right destination management structures and the communication channels. What are the features of tourism destination? Number 1, it should have high quality. And that means that for a destination to continue being attractive, one of the features is that it must have high quality resources or attractions, and it should be, it should have friendly people around it, even the service provider, and it should also have a protection for the resources and other key entities that qualify a destination to be of high quality. So a tourist will always go to a place where they feel there is value for their money. And if the quality is not maintained in terms of the kind of services provided, in terms of the resources that are being showcased, then it cannot be sustainable, or it cannot be regarded as a sustainable destination. Number 2, it should be real or authentic. Authenticity, it means that the local flavor should be encompassed within a destination. So in this regard, we are saying that the community flavor should be part and parcel of the destination. Like in Kenya, we always say that in Kenya we are friendly when it comes to the issues of dealing with our tourists, and that's why we have slogans like Hakuna Matata, and Kenya is a hospitable nation. So that goes a long way in terms of marketing and even making our destination to be highly known. Number 3 is the uniqueness. The uniqueness of a destination. Why is Kenya unique? It is unique because Kenya is a nature-based destination, and this is evident within our different national resources that are spread throughout this country. Then number 4, it should also have what we call the drawing power, which is measured by the number of visitors who are visiting a specific destination. And this is very important because for us to be able to measure demand, then one of the key things that we do is to look at the number of visitors coming to our country. Then it should also have activity options. In other words, when a tourist visits a particular destination, what are the possible activities they may engage themselves in? Further, we'll also be looking at the characteristics of destination management. And the first one is the character. And this focuses on directing management and coordinating activities. So that is one of the characteristics of destination management. The second one is mission. We have to establish sustainable and competitive tourism in an area. And the third one looks at the purpose. What is the purpose of destination management? How do we achieve this? That looks at the means, like the planning, the development and monitoring. All these encompasses the characteristics of a destination. Then we also look at the main working practices, and within that we are looking at the kind of partnership that we engage in. Then we also look at the structure. That is another characteristic. The kind of the organizational structure that we entrench as a destination. Then we also look at characteristics of organization. That is in terms of the skilled manpower, the way the decisions are made, and the way this decision flows from the top management downward. Then we also look at financing for us to be able to sustainably manage a destination. Who are the financier or investors? Then I would also want us to look at the elements of a tourism destination plan. So when we are coming up with a destination plan, what are the key elements that involve this bit? So the first one is tourism demand analysis. So every time we want to plan for a destination, then we must look at the tourism demand analysis. And it examines the existing and intended visitor market for the destination. In other words, we are looking at the market itself. And initially I had talked about the market needs and how we meet those needs. So basically when we look at demand analysis, we are focusing at the market, the visitor themselves, and what they desire. So it also involves examining the likely tourist, or rather, examines the likely tourist arrivals and characteristics, and the travel patterns and trends of the market. So the market trends, the way the tourists are flowing in a particular destination. And that is one of the key elements of demand analysis. And lastly, it also looks at the competitiveness of the destination when compared with other destinations. So all these elements are very important when we are doing demand analysis. And this helps us in destination planning. The number 2 is the supply analysis. And when you look at the supply analysis, we are looking at the destination itself in terms of its attraction, in terms of its accommodation and facilities. And, basically what we call the 5 A's. So you are examining, or we rather examine in details the attractions and accommodation within a destination. So when we do supply analysis, we are looking at the destination. What is the destination offering? When we look at demand, we are looking at the market itself, the tourist. Then we also look at what we call the tourism impact analysis. In other words, we talk about the many benefits that emanate from tourism. But that is not all. We also need to look at the negative impact and the positive impact. And when we are doing tourism impact analysis, it comprises three key elements. That is the environmental impact, we do the social cultural impact, and also the economic impact. So all these will help us in underscoring the benefit and also the other side effects that come alongside with tourism. Then we also look at the economic and financial analysis. And when you look at the financial and economic analysis, we are looking at the living standards of the people who are hosting particular attractions or destination. And we are also looking at, the employability or, the way tourism will offer employment opportunities to the host community. We are also looking at the consumption pattern, the way people are spending money within a particular destination. So if we look at a destination like Kenya, we can quantify and say this is the kind of clientele that we attract from the international market. And this is the amount of money they spend every time the international tourist visit. In economics, we call it the ASP, the average spending power, the amount of money that a tourist will spend when they come to a destination called Kenya. So we look, essentially we are saying, under economic and financial analysis, we are looking at what we call the visitor expenditure. Then the last one there, we look at the action plan and recommendation. Yeah, the kind of plans that we need to come up with and recommendation. We do an analysis of all those with an intention of trying to understand the destination itself. Now, a destination, just like any other typical product, has a life cycle. And in a typical product, we always say that a product starts from the introduction, then we have the growth, the development, the maturity, and also what we call the decline stage. And any typical product that we know has a beginning and an end. And a destination is not exceptional. So we usually have a destination exhibiting a life cycle as illustrated hereby. So when you look at the first stage here, this is the exploration. The destination here is very new. It is just, or in other words, it has just been developed. And few tourists know about this destination. So the first people to visit a new destination, the so-called explorers, they are just few. And the destination might not even be generating a lot of revenue at this stage. But then as it moves, it gets to what we call the involvement stage, whereby it opens up even to the host community. That destination now is becoming a bit popular. A bit of marketing and promotion efforts is being done at this level. So the destination in a way is growing. Here the curve was a bit flat, but now we can see that it is exponentially growing. Then the next level is development, where now we see, a tangible growth. And development means that the destination is becoming more popular and more tourists are visiting the destination. More revenue is being generated by that destination. And then as we move on, we get to the next level, what we call the consolidation. And in consolidation, we are saying that the destination now has grown and it is now refocusing on specific uniqueness. You know, like when we talk about Destination Kenya, you know, our key catchment is nature-based products. And that is the thing that has made Kenya to be renowned. But that does not mean that there are no other kind of products that are out there. No. So here we are looking at that market, you know, being more stable, consolidation, you know. And after consolidation, then you can see the curve start flattening again. And then we get to a level called stagnation. In stagnation, it means that you are getting almost the same number of tourists every now and then, the same revenue, and this stagnation stage means that there is no exponential growth that is being realized. So most of the destination would really want to refocus on consolidation and development, because this the two levels, at the two levels here, there is what we call, you know, growth, unlike in stagnation. And for example, in Kenya, one of the products that has entered this level, or that is within this level, is the safaris, or what we call the the safari products, whereby that product is already renowned. But when a product is, or a destination is within this level of stagnation, then there are a few things that need to be done. And these few things are supposed to help us in modifying the market and also the destination itself. And it is mainly called rejuvenation. So when we modify the market, when we modify the marketing mix, when we modify the product itself, when we introduce new products or emerging products, then all that is done with a notion of trying to rejuvenate that destination. Otherwise, if this destination is not rejuvenated, then what is highlighted by E here will happen. This curve will go downward up to here, and this a decline, and the destination will exit, or it will no longer be renowned. We know of some destinations that have taken that downward curve, but a destination like Kenya, we are introducing new tourism products and also capturing new market with a notion of trying to rejuvenate destination Kenya as a destination of choice. So this simply explains what destination is all about. Then we have some parameters that we use when it comes to tourism destination management, and they are basically two. The first one is what we call competitiveness. And competitiveness means that you are able to compete with other destinations. For instance, Kenya is doing very well in terms of tourism. Or Kenya has been doing very well in terms of tourism, with an exception of this time round. COVID-19 has affected the destination Kenya. And our key competitors are our neighbors here, Tanzania. And for us to be able to compete effectively, we are saying that tourism competitiveness is a function of, number one, destination appeal. The attractiveness and deterrence. What attracts tourists to destination Kenya? What deters tourists? Then the other function of competitiveness is what we call destination management. The way we market and manage our destination. Number three, destination organization. The DMOs, capabilities, the strategic alliances that we entrench. Then we are also talking about the way we secure destination information, whether internal or external information systems that we have deployed to manage the different destinations or attractions. Then destination efficiency, which looks at integrity of experience, and productivity is also a function of tourism competitiveness. And this model of tourism destination competitiveness is very important because it helps us to understand the destination prosperity as noted by Rishi 2011. The second parameter is sustainability. So we have looked at the first one as competitiveness. The second one is sustainability. And sustainability means the ability of a destination to maintain the quality of its economic, socio-cultural, and environmental resources. In other words, we call them the three pillars of sustainable tourism: economic pillar, socio-cultural pillar, and environmental pillar. And all these are very important when it comes to the issues of sustainability. Now, the last item that I will be looking at is what we call the principles for tourism, for sustainable tourism planning in a destination. If we want to entrench the three elements that we have talked about, you cannot talk about destination management without talking about sustainability. And we have seen sustainability touches on the environmental resource. We are also talking about the socio-cultural resource, and we have also looked at the economic resource. So what are the guiding principles for sustainable tourism planning in a destination? The first one is community involvement. We have to involve our community in terms of setting tourism vision, resource identification, developing goals and strategies, and implementation, and also the management. So the community must be in the center. If at all we are going to ensure that there is sustainability in our different destinations, then the community cannot be locked out. When you lock out the community, then you create war and resistance. Number two, we must also allow other stakeholders to bring in their input. We say that tourism is a multifaceted industry. In other words, there are quite a number of stakeholders who are within this industry, and you cannot ignore them. So for us to be able to strike a balance between tourism management or destination management and its sustainability, then the aspect of involving stakeholders is of paramount importance. Number three, tourism development must provide quality employment, not only to the host, but also to the citizens of the different destinations. So quality employment in terms of whether it's direct employment or indirect employment. And that one is quite clear. Then number four, the benefit of tourism must occur at the tourism destination. We have seen in this country quite a number of corporate social responsibility being geared by the government or by the Ministry of Tourism and Wildlife. And this is just to, enable the host community to have what we call the economic ripple effect of tourism. So if one fails to see the benefit of tourism, then we jeopardize the sustainable efforts or the principles of sustainable tourism. Then we are also talking about sustainable tourism development has to provide intergenerational equity. That is, equitable distribution of benefits and cost. So if there is no equitable distribution of benefits of tourism, then it's not going to be sustainable in the long run. Because, for instance, if you look at land use in this country and the way the land has been used for the benefit of preserving, the natural resource in this country, whether through game reserves or even national parks. If the host community cannot see a benefit of such an item, then it means that they can also, jeopardize the government effort. Number 6, we must also have what we call a long tenure planning horizon need to be adopted by business and destination tourism organization. In other words, we need to have long-term planning. We don't just plan for a few months, but a good destination must plan for many years ahead in order to be sustainable in the long run. Then there must also be harmony between the needs of a visitor, the place, and the community. That aspect of living at peace and also, owning up the different destinations by different stakeholders. Then number 8, we are also talking about the tourism strategies and plan must be linked with a broader set of initiatives and economic development plans. So when you look at Vision 2030 that was crafted in 2007, it singles out tourism as one of the key economic pillars. In other words, when the government is coming up with its own economic development plan, it also captures the aspect of tourism strategies and plans therein. So all these must be captured for it to, even gain that mileage from the national government. Then there must also be coordination of policy and action levels among the various agencies involved at different levels. For example, we are talking about the mandate of KWS and other agencies like KTB and even the National Museum of Kenya. All these, they are guided by policies, and those policies helps in actioning what has been planned by those agencies. The other point is that there must be cooperation among attractions, business and or tourism operators. In other words, we are saying that all the stakeholders within the industry must cooperate for the industry to grow, whether at the operational level or at the management level. Another key point is there should be definite need for impact assessment of tourism. And it's always important for the tourism sector to continue doing what we call impact assessment. And we have talked about that at some point, where we are talking about, we don't only, we look at all the other key areas, like when we are looking at the impact of tourism, we are looking at the positive and the negative bit. So that must be considered. The other bit is that guidelines have to be established for tourism operation. Yeah, so we must come up with specific guidelines that champions destination management. The other point is that tourism planning must move away from traditional growth-oriented model to one that focuses on sustainable opportunities. So we are not only interested with numbers. That is what we call the traditional growth-oriented model. We are only looking at the number of arrivals and the amount of revenue generated. But we are also saying for us to be able to manage destinations appropriately, then the concept of sustainability must come in. We must look at how do we sustain our environment, how do we sustain our socio-cultural aspect and also the economic bit of it. Then the other point is about education and training. We need to establish or we need to have what we call establishment of education and training programs. Yeah. Why are we emphasizing this? It's because as a result of skills development, we will be able to have professionals who are skilled. You cannot talk about sustainable destination management without having the prerequisite skills amongst the industry practitioners or people working in the industry. And the aspect of education and training is so important when it comes to the aspect of sustainability. We need to continue training people within this sector, so that eventually we have people who are well equipped with the right skills and knowledge. Then we also look at the promoting appropriate uses and activities that draw from the from community identity and site opportunity. In other words, we must look at the kind of activities that are being instigated. Are they going to promote the aspect of sustainability, or are they going to deter the development of tourism per se? So we have to look at the kind of tourism activities and the element of sustainability. Then we also need to look at the scale and type of tourism facilities that are on offer. In other words, if you look at the recreational facilities or any other kind of leisure facilities that is being availed to tourists, how are those kind of tourist facility being maintained? Today we are talking about going green, ecotourism. And ecotourism is a concept that is just helping us to ensure that we have sustainable tourism for today and even tomorrow in mind. So if you look at the hotel itself, what are the green practices that are being done there or practiced in those facilities? The other point is that we must look at a way of maintaining national and cultural heritage within the different destinations in Destination Kenya. In other words, we are saying the natural resources and cultural resources must be maintained and preserved for the utilization of today and even tomorrow. And the last point here is sustainable tourism marketing should include the provision of high quality tourist experiences and promotion. So other days, for us to continue enjoying the bit on sustainable, or for us to continue enjoying the benefits of a sustainably considered destination, then we have to ensure that there is provision of high quality tourist experience and promotion thereof. So all these are important points that will help a destination to remain relevant for a long time. Because when we talk about destination management, we are looking at how do we ensure that this destination is benefiting to this generation and even tomorrow's generation. So we cannot talk about sustainability without looking at today's benefit and also ensuring that all the elements that encompasses sustainable tourism are entrenched within our destination. Thank you for listening, and I highly appreciate it. Thank you.
These televised lectures supplement our robust online learning going on our MKU online platform. You can view more on our televised lectures via our online platform. We are in a digital era, and Mount Kenya University knows this. The following are the steps to follow so as to complete your online application. Download the application form from the website www.mku.ac.ke. Attach copies of your academic certificates and ID. Pay the application fees via M-Pesa pay bill number 270988. Your ID is the account number. 2,000 shillings is the charge for a postgraduate. You can also deposit in the bank accounts provided on the website. Then email all the above to apply@mku.ac.ke.